Good day everyone, I am MICHAELLA, your student teacher. For today's video, I'll be discussing about the skin and its structure. The integumentary system consists of the skin and its accessory structures, including the hair, nails, sebaceous glands, and sweat glands. The skin is the exterior covering of the body. It weighs more than 6 pounds in the average adult and covers more than 3,000 square inches. It is the largest organ of the body. It is supplied with blood vessels and nerves. What is the function of the skin? The skin provides protection. It protects against invasion of bacteria and other harmful agents. It protects delicate cells beneath surface from injury. It inhibits excessive loss of water and electrolytes. It produces a protective pigmentation to protect the body against excessive exposure from the sun. It helps produce the body's supply of vitamin D. The skin regulates body temperature. When the body is too cold, the skin's blood vessels constrict. This allows more heat-carrying blood to circulate the muscles and organs. When the body is too hot, the blood vessels in the skin dilate. That brings more blood to the surface for cooling by radiation. At the same time, sweat glands secrete more sweat that cools the body when it evaporates. The skin provides sensations. It contains millions of nerve endings that act as sensory receptors for pain, heat, cold, and pressure. When stimulation occurs, nerve impulses are sent to the cerebral cortex of the brain, and the brain triggers any necessary response. The skin has two layers, the epidermis and the dermis. The epidermis actually has 4 strata. The stratum corneum is the outermost strata of the epidermis. It is most dead cells filled with a protein substance called keratin. It is thicker on the soles of the feet than on the eyelids, where there is less pressure. The stratum lucidum is a translucent layer lying directly beneath the corneum. It is also called epidermis. It may not even exist in the thinner skin. Cells in this layer are also dead or are in the process of dying. The stratum granulosum is one or more layers of cells starting to die and become hard. They are in the process of keratinization, becoming fibrous protein similar to that in hair and nails. The stratum germinativum is composed of several layers of living cells capable of cell division. It is the innermost layer of the epidermis and contains melanin, the pigment that gives color to the skin. The more abundant the melanin, the darker is the color. Damage to this layer, such as in severe burns, requires skin grafts. The dermis is beneath the epidermis and is composed of connective tissue. It contains the lymphatic nerves, nerve endings, blood vessels, sebaceous and sweat glands, elastic fibers, and hair follicles. The dermis is divided into 2 layers. The papillary layer is arranged into microscopic structures that form ridges. These are finger and footprints. The second one is the reticular layer. It's beneath the papillary layer. It is a white fibrous tissue that supports the blood vessels. The subcutaneous tissue or hypodermis is composed of adipose and connective tissue. It supports, nourishes, insulates, and cushions the skin. The dermis is connected to underlying tissue by the subcutaneous tissue. The hair is a thread-like structure formed by a group of cells that develop within a hair follicle or socket. Each hair has a shaft that is visible and the root is embedded in the follicle. A pilomotor muscle is attached to the side of each follicle. It is stimulated by skin irritants, emotional arousal, or cold temperatures, and reacts by contracting. This causes goose flesh or goose pimples. At the base of the hair, each follicle is a bulb enclosing a loop of capillaries. It is called the hair papilla and provides nourishment to the hair. It is one of the few living parts of the hair and is responsible for hair growth. The transparent cuticle covers the hair shaft like shingles on a roof, protecting it from the elements and chemicals, and from losing moisture. The cortex provides most of the hair's weight. It contains melanin, which provides color to the hair, stores oils, provides flexibility and elasticity, and adds shape to the hair. When the cuticle is damaged and exposes the cortex, hair looks dull and dry. The medulla is an inner hollow core that runs the length of the shaft. Sebaceous glands are oil glands. They have tiny ducts and that open into each hair follicle. Each sebaceous gland secretes sebum, which lubricates the hair and the skin. The amount of secretion varies with age, puberty, and pregnancy. Next is the nails. Fingernails and toenails are hard keratin that protect the ends of fingers and toes. The nail root, also called the germinal matrix or nail bed, begins several millimeters into the finger and extends to the edge of the white, crescent-shaped lonula. This is where the growth occurs approximately 1 millimeter per week. The undersurface of the nail plate or body of the nail has grooves that help anchor it. The cuticle is also called the eponychium. It refuses the nail plate and the skin of the finger together to form a waterproof barrier. The hyponychium is under the free edge of the nail. It also creates a waterproof barrier, fusing the skin of the finger to the underside of the nail plate. A lost finger or toenail will regenerate. Ingrown nail. Ingrown nails are simply those that have curled down or around and are growing into the skin. They may become swollen and inflamed. Trim toenails straight across to avoid this growth pattern. Sudoriferous glands are sweat glands. About 2 million are distributed over the surface of the body. More numerous on the palms, on the glands, soles of the feet, forehead, and axillae or underarms. Sweat glands produce sweat or perspiration. As sweat collects on the skin surface, it evaporates and creates a cooling effect. Sweat also reaches the body of waste through the pores of the skin. As it accumulates, sweat may become odorous by the action of bacteria. The average person loses approximately half liter of fluid through sweating each day. Next topic is we have the skeletal system. The cardiovascular system is composed of 206 bones that, along with cartilage, tendons, and ligaments, it makes up the framework or skeleton of the body. The skeleton can be divided into two main parts. The axial skeleton consists of 80 bones. The primary bones of the actual skeleton are the skull, spine, ribs, sternum, or thorax. Anterior means front. Posterior means back. This is an anterior view of the skeleton. The appendicular skeleton consists of 126 bones. The primary bones of this skeleton are the shoulder or pectoral girdle, arms, hands, pelvic girdle, legs, and feet. Bones are composed about 50% water and 50% a solid, calcified, rigid substance known as osseous tissue. Bones provide shape, support, and the framework of the body. Bones protect internal organs. Bones serve as a storage place for minerals such as salts, calcium, and phosphorus. Bones play an important role in hematopoiesis, the formation of blood cells that takes place in bone marrow. Bones provide a place to attach muscles. Bones make movement possible through articulation. Classification of bones by shape. Bones can be classified by shape. Four of those classifications are: long bones include the femur, tibia, fibula, humerus, radius, and ulna. Bones can be classified by shapes. Four of those classifications are: short bones include the carpals of the wrist and tarsals of the ankle. Flat bones include the skull, sternum or breastbone, and scapula or shoulder bone. Irregular bones include the vertebrae or spine and pelvic. The features in these long bones illustrate those found in all bones: epiphysis, growing end; diaphysis, shaft; periosteum, outside covering; medullary, inner space containing bone marrow; endosteum, lining of medullary cavity. A joint is a place where two or more bones connect. The manner in which they connect determines the type of movement allowed at the joint. The synarthrosis is a joint that allows no movement. An example would be a cranial suture. An amephiarthrosis is a joint that allows slight movement. An example would be a vertebra. A diarthrosis is a joint that allows free movement in a variety of directions, such as knee, hip, elbow, wrist, and foot. Types of movements that diarthrotic joints. Abduction, a moving body apart from the middle. Adduction, moving a body part toward the middle. Flexion, a bending limb. Extension, straightening a flexed limb. Supination, lying supine or face upward, or turning the palm or foot upward. Pronation, lying prone or face downward, or turning the palm downward. Circumduction, a moving a body part in a circular motion. Protraction, moving a body forward. Retraction, moving a body part backward. Dorsiflexion, a bending a body part backwards. Inversion, turning inward. Eversion, turning outward. Rotation, moving a body part around a central axis. Fowler's position, sitting straight up or reclining slightly, legs straight or bent. Trendelenburg position, lying supine with the head lower than feet. Lateral recumbent, lying on your left or right side. The vertebral column is composed of separate bones called vertebrae, connected to form four spinal curves. A curve has more strength than a straight line, so that support the weight of the body and provide balance needed to walk. The cervical curve contains the first 7 vertebrae. The thoracic curve contains the next 12. The lumbar curve contains 5. The sacral curve does not contain vertebrae. It contains the sacrum and coccyx, or tailbone. The male and female pelvis. The pelvis is the lower portion of the trunk of the body. The hip bones, sacrum, and coccyx form the pelvic basin. Hip bones include the ilium, pubis, and ischium. The male pelvis is shaped like a funnel and is heavier and stronger than the female. The female pelvis is oval to round and wider than the male. Bone is continually remodeled. It is broken down by osteoclasts in a process called resorption and formed again by osteoblasts. Bone formation and healing slow down as part of the aging process. Osteoporosis is an age-related loss of bone mass or density. Lastly, we have the major muscles of the human body, the muscular system. The muscular system consists of all the muscles of the body. These make up approximately 42% of total body weight and are composed of long, slender cells known as fibers. The fibers are different lengths and vary in color from white to deep red. Each muscle consists of a group of fibers held together by connective tissue and enclosed in a fibrous sheath or fascia. Muscles cause movement, help to maintain posture, and produce heat. There are 3 types classified according to function and appearance: the cardiac muscle cell, skeletal muscle cell, and smooth muscle cell. Skeletal muscles are elastic and work in pairs, one flexing while the other striated with horizontal markings and are simulated to contract by electrical impulses from the nervous system. Fast, white muscle fibers contract rapidly, have poor blood supply, operate without oxygen, and tire quickly. Slow red muscle fibers contract more slowly, have better blood supplies, operate with oxygen, and do not tire as easily. They are used in ongoing movements such as maintaining posture. Smooth muscle lines must hollow organs of the body, such as the intestines, stomach, and uterus. They help move substances through tubular areas such as blood vessels and the small intestines, contracting automatically and rhythmically. Smooth muscles contract slower than skeletal muscles, but can remain contracted longer and are not as dependent on oxygen. They are simulated by electrical impulses or hormones, and use carbohydrates for energy. The cardiac muscle or myocardium are striated like skeletal muscles, but are smaller and shorter. They are simulated to contract by electrical impulses sent out from small clumps of specialized tissue in the heart, the sinoatrial and atrioventricular node parts of the muscle. Each muscle has 3 parts: the body, origin, and insertion. Body, the main portion; origin, the fixed attachment; and the insertion, the point of attachment to the part of the body moved by muscle. In this picture, the origin of the muscle is the scapular attachment. A tendon provides the insertion on the ulna and radius bones. A tendon is a means of attachment, connecting the muscle to the bone. They vary in length from less than an inch to more than a foot. A wide sheet-like tendon is called an aponeurosis. The major muscles: biceps, abdominal, sartorius, tibialis, soleus, mastoid, pectoral, obliques, rectus femoris, gastrocnemius. Lastimus dorsi, gluteus medius, gluteus maximus, gastrocnemius, trabezius deltoid, triceps, hamstrings, Achilles tendon. Tonic muscles are continually working to maintain posture. This passive muscle contraction, known as residual muscle tension, is called tonicity. Tonicity is not the same as achieving muscle tone through exercise. The effect of exercise. With aging, muscles decrease in strength, endurance, range of motion, coordination, and elasticity. Exercising the muscle can help prevent a loss of strength. And that is the end of the topic.